Hey everyone, welcome back to Cody Tarot. I'm your tarot reader, Cody. So for today's pick a card, we are going to be we're going back into future spouse territory. We're traversing the divinatory lands into our future married lives. So basically, each pile is going to reveal information about your future life and what it's going to be like to be married with your future spouse. So we're going to be going over a little bit about what the future spouse, their personality's like, how they kind of show their love to you, and that's going to kind of facilitate like the lifestyle that you guys both live. And so we're going to be covering like what type of lifestyle that you guys are both going to be living in the future. So for today's reading, we have 5 groups in front of us. I tried to pick some of like very special crystals to me for this reading, so they all have like a pretty significant like meaning to me. So we're working with those today. Let me go over the crystals right now before we get into the reading. So we have the first group, which is the Spirit Quartz, the Ametrine Spirit Quartz. Then our next group, which is the Lapis Lazuli. Our third group, which is the Prehnite. Our fourth group, which is the Sunstone Iolite. And our fifth group, the Blue Lace Agate. So take all the time you need to pick your crystal. You can pause the video here if you need to. After you pick your crystal, you can scroll to your reading in the video, or you can click the timestamp below in the comment section or in the description box and move ahead to your pile. I really hope you guys enjoy the reading today. I had a lot of fun filming them. And yeah, let's get into it, starting with group number 1, the Spirit Quartz Ametrine. Hey, group number 1, this is if you picked the Ametrine Spirit Quartz. So let's get into your reading. So first we have the Animal Oracle card and the Whispers of Love card. So this is just going to kind of indicate a little bit about the connection of who this person is and how you guys kind of express love towards one another. So first of all, we have the Mouse card. This is a person who's very focused on the details. This is a person who makes sure like every last little thing is taken care of in a situation. Like if they're planning a party or an event, they're going to make sure every little last kind of detail is taken care of for that event to happen. Also, at the heart of the matter, it says there is more going on than meets the eye. And just take that as like, your partner's kind of mysterious. Like you're gonna marry someone who's kind of like, how do I put this? They're not known by many people, as in like not a lot of people know the real them or who they really are, truly are. They're just very mysterious to a lot of people. And interestingly enough, we have the Mouse cards. They may be like smaller in frame, or they may kind of make themselves seem more insignificant than they actually are. They might be actually a very powerful person, but they kind of portray themselves as very like insignificant among certain people, just to kind of like put them in a lower rank so the other person doesn't feel threatened. And there's also a sense of mystery about them. They definitely push in some of their desires, and they don't express those desires so easily or so forwardly. They're definitely more focused on taking care of different things, moving around and with their knickknacks and like making things work and not work, and well, not work, but just basically making things work and fix things and make things. If they're a man, they're going to be someone who kind of like, or if they have more masculine energy, they're going to be someone who like fixes things more like around the house, more of like a handyman. If they're a woman, they're going to be working on like little craft projects and stuff. Someone who likes their little like knickknacks and stuff like that. So that's kind of how we have like the first image of your person. Now we're going to pull these cards to get into what the married life is going to be like. Interesting. So one thing that I'm noticing right off the bat, with the Two of Swords right here in between the Four of Swords and the Knight of Swords, first of all, we have a lot of swords energy. We have the Eight of Swords, Four of Swords, Two of Swords, Knight of Swords, and chaos and conflict. And what I'm taking this as is that there's going to be a lot of transformation in this relationship. This is kind of similar to a reading I did recently in my past video, interestingly enough. A lot of very similar energy. I'll be curious if you guys got the same pile or you picked the same crystal. I think it was the ametrine that was in that pile too. But we'll see it. We'll see how close or different it is. Anyway, with the Two of Swords, this just represents that, like, with this woman, and you know, she has her blindfold and she's being pulled by these two crows, or kind of like nagging at her head. You know, it's like having two different thoughts or ideas pulling at you in different directions. And that's kind of like one of the things that's interesting about your married life is you have this Knight of Swords energy on one hand and this Four of Swords energy on the other. Four of Swords is all about rest, relaxation, recovery, kind of falling into a peaceful slumber or a peaceful relaxation when the time is right and it's time to relax. And the Knight of Swords is all about activity, like gung-ho, moving ahead, going forward. But this Two of Swords card right in the middle, it just kind of shows me that there's like a swing, like a pendulum kind of like swing back from one to the other. So you're going to have the kind of relationship in married life where on one hand, you guys can both be really relaxed with each other, but then on the other hand, swing into a more active role or active mode of operation. It's quite interesting how this works. There also might be like elements where when you guys are resting or you're more kind of relaxed together, it's like right before bedtime or before you sleep. I'm definitely seeing that like you will both be sleeping in the same bed. So if you're worried that like you're like sensitive to like your partner snoring or something, or you don't want to sleep in the same bed as someone because of that. When you're married, like I know that maybe that's an given for some people, but you guys will be sleeping in the same area. You'll be resting together as well as working together. So there is that element that you guys will both be going on adventures, being very active together, but then you also have that time where you can like rest together. So maybe in the past with your relationships, you've had relationships where it was like totally 100% resting and kind of like relaxation, but no one wanted to get any kind of like work done or be active or do something. Or you've had relationships where someone wanted to be very active all the time and constantly doing something, but never wanted to sit down and relax. Well, this person's going to give you the best of both worlds, and you're going to have that pendulum swing to go back and forth to one to the other. It's interesting because both of you are going to kind of realize when you're in this situation that it's going to be like these little birds that are like nagging at this girl's head, right? Like you'll be both being really active and stuff. And then it's going to be one of those situations where you both kind of turn to each other and you're just like, do we need to rest right now? Do we need to take a break? And the other one's like, I think it's time, and it's kind of nice because you're always in the same flow of when your breaks are or when you want to be active. The other one wants to jump in and do that activity or that rest period just as like easily with you as they would better than they could with anyone else, basically. And I'm definitely seeing that here, that maybe in the past with some of your other relationships before your future spouse, there may have been an element of like people not wanting to like move, or maybe you were with some people who were like, and this is kind of a harsh term, but like lazy, I guess. I mean, who's really lazy? But lazy. Or you could have been with people who are like just too active and kind of like too gun-ho all the time. So there's going to be a nice balance, a nice pendulum swing back and forth between both of those realms. And I definitely see with this activity, I definitely mentioned earlier that it blends in with work, and I'm seeing that here with the Three of Pentacles. You might, when you're married to your future spouse, have a working relationship with them. You guys might work on the same team or in the same career or the same field of endeavor, and you might work really well together. Three of Pentacles is also about group activities and working well with groups. If the Two of Pentacles was here, I would say that you guys would be good at like exchanging duties, exchanging household duties and stuff like that. But the Three of Pentacles adds like more of an extroverted outside the couple's home kind of thing, or outside married life responsibilities, duties and stuff. So with the Three of Pentacles, I'm definitely saying that you guys could work in a business or a corporation outside of the home environment. Maybe you both manage a shop or maybe you both work at like a particular place, or you work in the same field of endeavor. Say you're an artist, they're also an artist. You know, if you are a mechanic, they also work in mechanics. And it could be one of those things where one of you manages the books and the other one's the talent, kind of something like that. But you guys have a working relationship together. Interestingly enough, going over here with Chaos and Conflict and the Eight of Swords. It's interesting. I'm looking at these two cards and I'm definitely looking at the symbolism of them. With this zebra, it's like part of the zebra has these stripes, but let me see. I don't know if you guys can see that. Part of the zebra has these stripes, but then it's like fading away or crumbling away, and there's kind of like a sunset in the background. And the zebra used to be a striped zebra, but now he looks like he's almost like a giraffe. So it looks like it could be kind of like an uncomfortable transition for him. And interestingly enough, we also have that here with the Eight of Swords. And particularly with this deck, I take this Eight of Swords to represent like self-image, body image issues, things of that nature. There might be an element here where you or your partner might have some self-image issues, like not believe that they're beautiful or good looking enough to be with the other one. And it's gonna take kind of like, there's gonna be like kind of a rough transition in the beginning of the relationship of like proving like that the other one has the worth to be with the other one. I'm trying not to make this sound too like dark or depressing, because it's not really. It's going to be actually a pretty beautiful thing and a pretty revelatory thing. It's just that one of you feels kind of like trapped in their own skin and they don't realize who they are. They need kind of like to shed their skin to kind of become the true person to be in the relationship. It's almost as if you both are meeting at a time. You know how you hear stories where people kind of meet when one's actualized, when two people are actualized and they meet together. This is kind of a little exception to the rule. One of you will be not as fully actualized as the other one. So there is going to be a slight catch-up phase for one partner to kind of catch up and be in the realm of the other partner. So, I mean, if this is you, if you're relating to kind of having any kind of like body image issues, or like not feeling comfortable in your own skin, or you feel like you need to go through a transformation, or you feel like you're not, how do I put this? It feels like you're not what you are on the outside. It's almost like what you are on the inside is not what you are on the outside. This could also apply, this is like a really good example, if you are transgender, or you are kind of going through I don't know what they're called. Is it like a gender transformation? Oh my gosh, I'm probably butchering this, but if you're like if you're transitioning like female to male or male to female, this could be one of those situations that you could be in transition when you're meeting this person. That's going to be for a few of you, just some of you. But other than that, it's definitely something about feeling uncomfortable in your own skin. There might be an element where you kind of change your style or your look when you're with this person, that like you maybe like just adapt a whole other kind of lifestyle when you're with this person. And maybe it's not even that big of a deal when you're changing your styles, your clothes, or anything like that. But there's an element of like kind of freeing yourself from the bonds of these birds, or there's a body image transformation, basically is what I'm seeing. This could be interesting because it could lead to things in the relationship of kind of like beautification or appearances, as far as like how you guys dress and how you come across to other people in the world. There is also an element of mystery with the mouse card, where it says that with this card, the heart of the matter, there's more going on than meets the eye. So there's just this interesting element where the allure or the glamour of this kind of like transformation adds more allure and mystery into the connection. I'm definitely seeing some of the mystery of the mouse is going to rub off on you. And if you don't feel like you're that mysterious or maybe intriguing to other people, I'm definitely seeing that your partner, when you're with them, it's going to add to that effect. And you guys are going to both seem kind of mysterious and interesting to outsiders. Let's see what else is going on. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing that with this Three of Pentacles and the Knight of Swords, it's definitely giving me work vibes, that you guys are going to be working together on a similar field or a project. You might be share a career, you'll be co-workers. With the Knight of Swords card, this can represent, to me, like adventure and adventuring. And just kind of like a gun-ho nature, like a kind of, is it called devil may care? It's basically like you're gonna throw caution to the winds and just go and do it. And so that's interesting that you guys flow so easily in and out of a restful and active state. It's a very nice development, because sometimes when we're in relationships and stuff, you can have one person who like really wants to go do something and the other person who just wants to kind of stay at home. And so this is going to be a situation where you're both kind of in the same flow of the same thing. Yeah, and there's just more to this connection going on than meets the eye, interestingly enough. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that hasn't been mentioned here that will be in your relationship. Obviously, this is a reading that, is taking like, 13, 14 minutes. And yeah, there's definitely going to be more to your relationship than just this reading. But also, this is pointing out that like there might be more to meets the eye in this connection. I'm specifically seeing that here with this mirror and this body transformation. There's kind of like an element of a disguise, or kind of feeling like people will perceive you differently than you truly are. And for some of you, that might be a good thing, because it gives you guys a lot of anonymity, and it gives you a lot of ability to protect yourself from outside influences. Definitely the mouse person, with them making themselves smaller to kind of make someone else feel better or more powerful than them, is kind of a defensive tactic to kind of blend in more. It's that way, they seem less threatening, and the other person can feel a little bit more powerful, and the tension gets kind of shifted onto that other powerful person, if that makes sense. Interesting, very interesting connection. I really enjoyed reading for you guys. That's going to be the end of your reading. If you like the reading, you can like or comment below. If you really like the reading, and subscribe to my channel. I post pick a cards like this like once every 1 to 2 weeks. Right now, a little bit more regularly. But yeah, it just depends on my mood, really. But I do enjoy reading for you guys, and it's always a pleasure. So I guess we'll move on to the next group, group 2, with the, the Lapis Lazuli, Hello, group 2, if you picked the Lapis Lazuli. This is like a palm stone. It's just like fun to hold in the palm of your hand. It's very rounded and nice. It's a soft stone. Anyway, so getting into your reading, your person is a very pure soul. Whenever I get the golden egg card, this just represents someone who is just pure. Like, they have a very open heart chakra. They're very focused on their heart chakra. They may make a lot of decisions by feeling those decisions out rather than thinking those decisions out. And they definitely take into consideration the group or other people when they're making their decisions. One thing right here where it says, the only thing that is real is love, shift your focus back to love. I think this person definitely brings your attention into the more loving realms. You might be the type of person who has more of a blocked off heart chakra, or you find trouble connecting or opening up to people, or kind of feeling close with people in relationships. Which is like it's not really a bad thing. It's just that this person's going to like help you open that up and help you like kind of become more of a lover rather than a fighter, I guess. I guess fighter is the wrong word. I'm not really imagining you as a fighter, but more like, how do I put this? I just see them like opening you up, like with your emotions and stuff. This person also might actually, you might find yourself like feeling your emotions more in this person's presence. Like you might find yourself like at a normal movie where you feel sad, but like this time you're like expressing that. Maybe you're crying with this person, and you're finally like being able to let down the emotional walls of like expressing those feelings around someone, so it's almost like you can be free to kind of express the part of you that you're a little scared to express, because this person is just so emotionally intelligent and empathetic, and their heart chakra is just glowing. It's just bright and glowing. And that's what this card kind of represents, is the only thing that is real is love. And it says right here, it says, shift your focus back to love. I don't know if you can see there. Yeah, you can see that. It's shift your focus back to love. And that's kind of what they help you do. And that's kind of one kind of key component in this relationship, is they kind of show you that love is more important than kind of, you know, either like power, career, authority, anything in the realms of like, logical dynamics, I guess is the best way to put it. They bring you back to that feeling side, that feeling perspective. So you might be a person with very yang energy, and this person's going to have a very yin, soft, kind of caring features to them. So let's get into your reading about what your future life is going to be like. Details about your partner. Interesting spread. Okay, we have a few things here. So the first thing that's like the most interesting thing in this reading that's sticking out to me is this Y card next to the Fool card. So Y, you have this guy and he's reaching towards this book with wings. You know, it's kind of like giving me the impression that the knowledge or the kind of wisdom that this guy is searching for is kind of like just, you know, flew down from the heavens and just landed right in front of him. And it's just a book, and he can read this book, but the book can like fly away. So your grasp on knowledge is like not always completely there. It's like you're barely gripping the answers to these kinds of questions, but at the same time, you are gripping them nonetheless. So I definitely see here with the Fool that there's going to be an element of spontaneity and questioning that spontaneity. So one of you, either you or your partner, might feel a little bit more impulsive. This could be an indication of not necessarily impulse and restriction. So not necessarily aspects of like, kind of like, you know, someone, you know, trying to fly free and someone trying to catch them, like a, you know, kind of like a kid trying to catch a butterfly, but more along the lines of like someone having an adventure or an experience and then asking the metaphysical meta knowledge questions of like, why did that experience mean something? Why did that experience mean what it meant to you, and what did it mean to me? So really going into depth of like why that was either a good thing or a bad thing, or there's going to be a lot of reflection on your life experiences and where you go in life. So I'm definitely seeing that with the spontaneity and this why, and this might actually happen in real time, because I'm not getting too many cards about kind of like an introverted time away where you discuss things that are going on in your life. So it might actually happen out in public or in the open with people, where, you know, your person might say or do something, and your partner might just be like, well, why'd you do that? Or why? You know, they might ask that question a lot. Or you might ask that question a lot of them. To be honest, I'm not quite clear on who asked why more. I think both of you asked why, which is interesting. There's a lot of understanding, like, and there's a lot of like explaining your actions to the other person and like really letting them know like why something was done. Another thing too here is, interestingly enough, with the Star card, we have this whole element of like both of you being on your path. And so this whole element of you guys discussing your impulses and why one person acted this way or didn't act this way. Because what I'm definitely sensing, this person is so heart and feeling focused, very like yin, divine feminine energy, that if you have more of a masculine energy, there's going to be an element where there's going to be a blending of those two, and sometimes it's difficult for those two energies to blend. So I think there's going to be a lot of discussion on the impulse factor, like if they have a feeling impulse where they want to move forward with something they feel is the right thing to do, whereas there's something maybe that you think is more the logical thing to do, then they're basically going to explain like why they acted the way they acted, and you can explain why you acted the way you acted. So the question why is going to be very important in your relationship, and a real big spark and start off to a really like good cycle and continuous cycle of communication. So yeah, that's always really good. Especially when I get readings like this and people are so different. That's where communication really comes into play. If someone's very much one way and someone else is very much the other way, communication is definitely very important to kind of like figure out like what the motives of the other person are, because this person is so far left on the emotional spectrum, I guess is what you could say, and you're kind of like on the other side on the logical spectrum. And even if you don't think you're that logical, this person's going to be so far left on the emotional spectrum that you might have to ask why they did certain things or why they're doing certain things. But they do have the feelings of love involved. And so a general overarching theme with them is that they're doing things for the sake of love or for empathy or for caring for others. They have a really loving nature, and they have a really deep understanding of kind of like the feelings that are moving in and on and around them. So yeah, the star is just kind of, we're going to cover the star pretty quickly. It's just going into that there's going to be a sense of hope every time you ask one of these why questions, or there's an impulse, or there's a communication. There's just further understanding and there's further knowledge and how do I put this? There's an element of just understanding that this is the right person for you. So knowing that this person is going to be there for you, and you know that this is the right person, because once they explain why they did something, it's like they're putting it into the logical format for you to understand. And in that way, when they do that, they're actually giving you kind of like this key to like understanding the longevity of your kind of relationship. The star card to me represents like divine longevity. You know, it's like the hope or the path illuminated. Whenever I think of a path, I think following your star. It's like following the journey. It's like you're getting the clues, you're getting the wisdom that you're on the right path. So you're kind of getting this renewed sense of your relationship happening all the time. I think that's something that they give you too, is like that understanding. And that's one of the ways how they help you kind of go into that loving space or pull you into that loving space, besides just the pure fact that they're going to be doing this on an energetic level. They're just such a pure person that you're going to find yourself acting in a more pure, how do I put this? Like, you will find yourself acting in a more ethical way. And I'm trying to think of another word to describe it, but ethical is the only word I can think of right now to describe it. There's just going to be a sense where you're going to feel like a better person just by being in their presence. Now, interestingly enough, I'm seeing here with the Emperor card, and even a little bit with the King of Wands over here, there is an element where you're kind of the boss. And it's known. It's like, I'm the boss. The Emperor's like a lot of Mars energy, Aries energy, leadership vibes. You're definitely still the boss. There's not an element where they're going to be like emotionally manipulating you or anything like that. It's coming from a very pure place where they're coming from. And definitely like where you're concerned, like they know you wear the pants in the relationship, if that makes sense. So there is an element of that. Could be another thing where you kind of are the boss of like a bigger group of people. And, you know, I definitely see that there's a separation between like the last group, they worked together. I definitely think there could be more of a separation between your work and private life, or the fact that one of you might not be involved in the other one's work life as much as, you know, but I definitely see you guys benefiting each other, even though that there's the separation in that regard. Temperance is interesting because we're getting this whole element with Temperance. Well, he has like this sun and this dark energy and this sun energy. And it also reminds me of the yin and yang that I'm talking about with the masculine and the feminine. This card reminds me of two things. So first of all, you guys might lead a very healthy lifestyle. Temperance can indicate sometimes leading a very healthy lifestyle, and kind of like eating right, drinking lots of water, you know, eating the right foods, like, you know, sticking within your calories, whatever eating healthy means to you. Maybe you're both vegan, or maybe you both work out on the regular and you're very careful about what you put in your bodies. Maybe you both take like multivitamins. There's a very health conscious factor here in your relationship. So there's going to be an element where you guys are both like very healthy with each other, and you kind of live kind of like just very like health conscious is what I'm seeing. And then also with the yin and the yang and the masculine and feminine energies, this is a sign that you guys will balance those out. So if there's ever a discrepancy in your relationship where there's like an element where you feel a little bit more powerful than them, or you feel a little more like undeserving of them, or even like if you feel like they're more powerful than you on like an emotional intelligence level, there is an element here that will balance out over time, and it's almost like they're going to take care of that. They're the ones that are kind of flooding the feelings in and out and kind of controlling that reciprocity in the relationship. With King of Wands over here, this card is interesting to me because usually this card represents some kind of like state of readiness, or being like ready and willing to accept whatever challenge comes your way, and just being like on it, like action focused and on it. And that could apply here, but I'm definitely also seeing there's kind of like a very unique message here with the lion and the fact that this guy is in a desert, that there might be a little bit of a situation where you guys have like sparse resources and you have to make do with what you are kind of given, or what's available. So it's almost like you guys can kind of like, it's like you guys can find the oasis in the desert, like you could be surrounded by sand and kind of like uninhabitable land, and all of a sudden you guys are the ones that find like the well of water in the desert, so there's an element of like finding like resources in a place where resources are scarce. So there's an element where you guys kind of live, I don't know if I'm trying to think of how to describe this. This just came in too. I'm also seeing leadership vibes, like as far as you being the boss in a situation, you might also be the type of person who leads people, or has like more of a managerial role, where you're leading others in a specific situation, or you're leading a team or something along those lines. But you're also working with sparse resources, so you're kind of making do with what you have, and maybe having to cut corners at sometimes. And maybe you don't. Maybe I don't know if I'm getting like the necessary sense that you guys are like poor or anything. I'm just seeing that like there's just an element where there's resources are scarce. And that could apply to anything. That could apply to the career that you're working with. You could work in a situation where you like help people, but the resources you have to help them are like not as much as you would need, So there's an element of that. Yeah, I think that about covers it for this pile. That was it for the reading. So if you like the reading, you can like or comment below. If you really like the reading, you can subscribe to my channel. I post pick cards like this once every 1 to 2 weeks. Trying to do a little bit more right now. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, so yeah, it was fun reading for you guys. We're going to move on to the next group number 3 with the Prehnite. Hello, group 3, if you chose the Prehnite. So this will be your reading. So first we have the Elk card and slow down, pause, and allow things to unfold. The Elk is an animal that in the deck, Kim Kranz, the author of the deck, calls this card like the father card. So interestingly enough, I'm seeing elements of that this person might want a family, or that you might have a future family with this person. Or this person would make a really great father or mother, or any kind of paternal or maternal figure. This is the type of person who really cares and protects and kind of gets involved in the life of those that are like younger than them, or that they are raising or kind of nurturing from an older person's perspective. And then slow down, pause, and allow things to unfold. This person's really going to kind of get you to kind of slow down and see life in a more holistic way. There's also an element here with the red and the yellow in his antlers, and I think that's like a sun up there. It's like a dark black sun, so maybe like an eclipse or something. But with the red and the yellow, I'm definitely seeing with the root and the solar plexus chakra, this person's gonna really try to get you to slow down and enjoy life. So you might be the type of person who's like a very fast-paced person, always like running around trying to get everything done, moving very quickly through life. But this person's going to be very much about like slowing you down, getting you grounded, and providing structure and security in the home. Definitely with the root chakra, I see this person as a very grounding influence. So if you feel like you're that kind of high energy vibe that's kind of needs to be feel like grounded, like you're just so out there and you're, la la la, and like, I don't know how to explain this. If you feel like you're kind of always flitting about from one thing to the next and you never really put down any roots anywhere, or you're kind of just like a leaf blown in the wind and you never feel like you ever have like a sturdy structure to hold on to, this person's going to be that kind of like structure for you. Definitely with the solar plexus chakra, this person also is kind of like their own form of a powerhouse of energy, just a little bit different than you. So you might have more sporadic social energy, or more like intuitive bursts of energy, or like when you do projects and stuff, this person's more of like a slow, sure, and steady energy, kind of coming from a place of kind of like groundedness and kind of like constant grinding on the activity until it's completed. So definitely a very much an opposite from you, but this person definitely does get you to slow down and pause and allow things to unfold. You might also feel like you're the type of person who likes to control situations, or that you want to like make sure you know what's going on. So you get involved in all these things just so you can have an active hand in shaping the outcomes of all these things. So what I'm seeing here is that this person kind of like slows you down and just like, hey, take a break. We'll see how this unfolds. You don't have to know. We'll see. And they kind of have more of a, like, they kind of have this idea that like fate has their best intentions in mind, So I think when we think of fate, we think of it kind of negatively, like someone who's fatalistic, who just accepts the worst and that's it. But this person's kind of fatalistic, but they also have a little bit of hope for the future, but they also, it's not so much that they have hope for the future, it's that they just like to see things unfold. They want to see how things unfold. Before they like take an active hand in shaping them. So they might be the type to pause and wait. They're a little less action oriented than you, but I definitely see them having more of a relaxing and a grounding effect on you. So this also is another type of person who specifically, this is coming through interestingly enough, if you're trying to like get in shape or exercise or something along those lines, but you find it's hard to stick with a routine or a workout program, this is the type of person who's going to be good at kind of grounding you and getting you into those kind of physical activities. So, you might want to go on hikes together. You might want to go traverse lands, faraway lands, and go on romantic getaways. But basically this person's going to get you grounded in physical form and physical activities and get you more moving in your body. All right, so let's see what's coming up in for the rest of your marriage. Okay. Oh, interesting. I'm getting a little bit of a different read than I did for the other piles as far as like married life and stuff. Just some obvious like little superficial things. You guys might both like to read. There might be a lot of reading books when you're together with this person that you both might like read a lot. There's also an element of with this surfboard, like you might like to go surfing. You might like situations by the beach or chilling by the beach. Those are just little things that are popping up, but let's get into the like guts of the reading. So we have, first of all, King of Swords and No Place Like Home. There is an element or a little story that I'm being told here that one of you, after you both have met, one will be away from the home for kind of like a prolonged period of time, or there might be a situation in your life where one person has to work far away from the home and have to go on trips for like long periods of time away from where the other person is, or they're just so busy that they feel like they're on a different plane of existence than the other person. The other person's waiting at home for them, and they're kind of, and there's an element that like after this period of transition, you both realize you just want to spend more time with each other. I'm definitely seeing here that with this aspect of like wanting to spend more time with each other, you both end up doing that, and you come together and you do spend more time together, and you actually discover that there truly is no place like home. It's this element of like that you both are each other's home, and I definitely see kind of a struggle in the beginning where you both want to have like kind of separate lives and you think that's what you need, but it really is truly more, you guys are better together than you are apart. With Five of Wands, I do see a sense of a competitive relationship with you and this other person. There might be an element where, especially when you guys are grounding in physical activities, this kind of could mean that like those physical activities could be like team sports, or you push each other to new heights. This could be an element of, also with the Page of Swords over here, like intellectual development and pushing each other to different intellectual heights. I'm also seeing right here too, this is another specific message that's only going to maybe apply to some of you if you want to have children. This person is going to be a good father figure, but it's also, this is kind of representing like, you might have like active children, like children who like to run around and they're very physical and grounded. So it's like the best parts of you are combining to create your kids. Like they might be very earthy children, but very like energetic, kind of like you are, like kind of all over the place and moving all around, but then also have this kind of like grounded earthy energy. So it makes for like very, I guess you could say you might have very athletic kids, or kids that are like, have like a good, like, I don't know how better to describe this. You just might have kids that are like, kind of like, that might be better in team sports, or might be better in like gymnastics, or I'm saying gymnastics because that's like the obvious imagery right here. But yeah, so that's a select message for some of you. For others of you, this is just basically indicating like a competitive relationship where you guys can like push each other to new heights through like kind of like competing against one another. Like maybe one of you, with this book example right over here, maybe one of you reads like a book in a like 3 books in 1 month or something, and the other one's like, I can read 4 books in 1 month, or I can read 5 books in 1 month. And then the next one reads a whole bunch of books in the next month, and the next one's like, oh yeah, well I can read this much in this month. And basically by the end of the year, you've read like tons of books. So that's what I mean by pushing each other to new heights. It's like through competing with each other, you make each other better people. And that's really a lovely thing that I'm seeing here. Also, speaking of that like whole idea with the book analogy, that's going to apply to another area of your life where the 3 of Wands represents being like partway on a journey and then like looking out and knowing you have more to go. So it also represents like a pause on that journey. And I'm definitely seeing right here that there is an element where, sorry, I just saw the candle flicker over there. There is an element like where you basically can pause and you realize like how far you've come, how much you've learned, how much you've grown, you know, and there's really an element of that. What else? There's an interesting element over here where intellectually, with the Page of Swords and the 8 of Swords over here, that intellectually, when you are looking at each other, it's like you're looking into the mirror of your own intellectual soul. So what do I mean by that? Basically, like when you have an idea, or when you're thinking of something that you want to say, or you have an idea or something you want to, Page of Swords in this deck always reminds me of an inventor or someone who's ingenious and thinks of different ideas with all these balloons that are light bulbs, you know, and she's like tightrope walking on this thing, and she has this like book in her hands. She's doing a lot and she's like balancing it all very, very well. But basically with this is like kind of like my mirror card. And 8 of Swords represents being trapped in your own mind, but it's also an element of like when that idea is trapped in one of your minds, the other one kind of like lets it out, you know, through some different way. There might be an element of like, maybe like poking or prodding the other one to like express that idea, and like really getting down into like the intellectual domain of your relationship. I'm definitely seeing a lot of like cool intellectual ideas being expressed. Interestingly enough, yeah, because we have like 3 swords cards and then 2 wands cards. So I'm definitely sensing that like that physical grounding is very present, and also the ideological realm is very present. So this might be a person who like you're really attracted to their intellect, or you guys like do puzzles or little intellectual games with each other. You might do like crossword puzzles, or you know, Sudoku or something. Or like even play like very like intellectually stimulating like video games, or maybe you just like to do math problems together. I don't know. It could be anything really. Yeah, so yeah, it's interesting. They get you to really slow down and take time to kind of enjoy life. They're definitely going to help you like intellectualize the world around you. I'm definitely seeing you guys being very educated. There might be an element where both of you may meet in a college environment or at an educational institution at school. And you learn quickly that you are each other's match because there's an element of intellectual matchup. There's an element of intellectual kind of chemistry and kind of like finding your equal. Like that's kind of where the competitiveness comes into play. Like going back to the book example, it's like, you can kind of like push each other to new heights intellectually, and that's really stimulating for both of you. Let's see what else. Yeah, there's a lot of like a little bit of like gymnastic and then like balancing with the surfboard elements. So I'm definitely seeing there's like a whole element of like, you're both very like intellectual and very athletic, or at least the elk person's very athletic. Definitely that children thing does apply. If you have children, they're going to be like athletic kids. Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about this first thing that I mentioned with you guys kind of separating, or there is an element too that you might, just because you've heard this reading, you could prevent this if you get in with your partner and you realize like one person's going to be far away from home for too long. You could try it. Just realize you can always go back and you guys can live together and one person can work from home, or you can only have one, maybe only one person wants to work, something along those lines where you guys are going to come back together. Because I'm definitely seeing you coming back together and realizing that there is no place like home, that you both really just love your home life together and like really relaxing, and like this card says, slowing down and kind of really chilling out and like building a family structure or a family unit. I'm definitely seeing with this pile specifically, because this elk person is such a good natural father figure, it makes sense that this person would have children. But if you don't want to have children, then it's just going to be kind of like a homey relationship. They're really going to take care of you. They're going to nurture you. There's going to be a lot of educational growth and development. They're going to ground you. It's overall a very, very solid connection. It's pretty wonderful. So if you like the reading, you can like or comment below. If you really like the reading, you can subscribe to my channel. I post pick a cards like this once every 1 to 2 weeks, a little bit more. Trying to post a little bit more when I can. And with that said, we're going to move on to the fourth group with the Sunstone Iolite. Hello, group 4, if you pick the Sunstone Iolite. This is a really cool stone because I use this stone in particular, like this exact stone, for like, what's that called? They call it in the crystal dictionaries and stuff, shamanic journeying. But in my experience, I just put it on my forehead and I just see crazy stuff in my mind. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I'm just like traveling through my own thoughts and imagination, and it's just pretty cool. It's a fun stone to just like go on a little roller coaster ride inside your own head if you're ever into that kind of thing. It really stimulates the imagination, basically. Anyway, so on to the reading. That might have an effect on this reading, I don't know. But definitely with the Eagle card and turn on your heart light, reflect on a time when you experienced love. The Eagle is like, in this particular deck, it's one of the last cards in the deck, and it really represents, before the chakra cards, and it really represents like the epitome of like the evolution of all the animals. The Eagle, interestingly enough, is all about like, kind of like, I see it as about courage and also kind of like determination and very much like leadership vibes, but also like a go-getter, majestic, like top dog leader type mentality. So that's someone that you're going to be marrying or that you're going to be getting into a relationship with. This person, interestingly enough, we have the sun right below this Eagle. And I'm definitely seeing this element that they really fly close to the light. So there's an element that they are kind of like a beacon to other people. I'm seeing that they kind of like are representative of kind of like an epitome or a like a paragon. Is that what that's called? Basically, other people kind of put them on a pedestal and treat them with like tons of respect. They're just like a great leader. Also, this person could like heights. I mean, eagles live in the mountains, so they could like heights and going up in planes or skydiving or hang gliding. I always say skydiving. I don't know why. Just whenever I do tarot readings, I think of skydiving. But this person can really likes risk and adventure and like kind of like going off and doing their own thing. I see eagles as being very independent, you know, and they're also kind of a sign of hope. When you see an eagle, it's kind of like a sign of hope. So this person could also represent hope for a lot of people who look to this person and see someone that they kind of like is glad that lives on this planet Earth. You know, this person might have a lot of admirers. Right here we have turn on your heart light, reflect on a time when you experienced love. This is really interesting. One way you're going to connect with your person is when you first meet them, you're going to reflect on times when you both love something deeply. So it could be a past relationship that you're referring to, but you're going to both be in a place of, I'm definitely seeing a lot of like positivity, that you're both going to be in this place of like positivity and kind of like love with yourselves and each other, that you can remember these things that you love and just talk about those things that you love, right? So maybe this person, I mean, this seems like a more active, adventurous type person. Maybe they like love going to the ocean, or maybe they loved going to the mountains or the desert. I'm definitely seeing this person kind of connected with nature. Like they like to go off and do trips and stuff. They're also very much a go-getter and a doer. Like someone who is like very active. But yeah, whatever you guys love and whatever you love and whatever you kind of like to do, you're both going to start sharing those things with each other. Just like, I love doing this. Oh, wow, I love doing this, you know? And also reflecting on a time when you experienced love, like even past relationships. I'm getting this strong message that you both might start out by talking about previous relationships you had in the past and what you loved about different people. And over time, you'll realize that as you guys continue to develop and make your connection, you'll start reflecting on times where you both experienced love. So there might be an element, it's like a deeply romantic connection in this regard, where you might be going along your married life, and then every once in a while they'll just be like, remember when you took me out to dinner that night when I was like really upset, when I like, failed my yada yada, and you took me out to dinner and you like made me feel better, and then you like, took me home and we just hung out. But like, I don't know, like I'm just seeing that like you guys will deeply remember the times where you experienced love with each other. It might start out where you're remembering love with others, but then as you build your relationship with this person, they slowly kind of create these loving moments where you can go back in your memories, and it's like, it's a very sentimental connection. I'm definitely seeing that like you can go back in time and think about good times and really remember things with this person. Like you can kind of like, memories are going to be very strong and very important with this person. I definitely see you guys sharing a lot of memories and experiences that were really good, and any kind of happy joys and highs that you feel. I see you guys reliving them again and again, kind of in a very nostalgic way, like with a lot of storytelling and good stuff like that. So let's get into your reading. We have time for a nap, 10 of Swords, Ace of Pentacles, 4 of Swords, another napping card, 7 of Swords, interesting, with Knight of Swords. Whoa, that's a cool interaction right there. I'm excited to tell you about that. Okay, I'll just tell you about it right now. Okay, so there is an element where you guys are gonna literally be dreaming of things, and then you're gonna have the ability to just go do them. Like if you look at this guy, it's like the same exact guy, pretty much. He has the white hood, and it's almost like you're kind of like taking your dreams and taking those aspects of your dreams and bringing them into reality. So, different ways this can manifest. Say you dream of going, like one night you dream and you're like, man, I really miss, like, I want to go swimming again, like I miss the pool. Then this person's going to be like, all right, let's go. And then you're going to go find a pool and you guys are both going to swim. This could also be experienced as a fact of one of you has a dream and the other one, you tell the other one about it, and then you guys record it. You might have dream journals. Time for a nap is really important over here because it's really reflecting that a lot of your dream life and what you're going to be dreaming about is going to get reflected into the waking life. This is a really cool connection. Really, you guys are really both going to be in tune with the subconscious. Each of your subconsciouses. So there's going to be you're just going to be so excited at the end of the day to go to sleep. I can't what you guys do to each other on an unconscious, subconscious level, you stimulate each other's imaginations and your dreams. That's why you pick this Sunstone Iolite, because that's the kind of connection that's coming with this person. This married life is going to be a lot of dream activity. But then also with this Seven of Swords energy moving and stealing the feathers and bringing it into this Knight of Swords, which is this action, you're going to be making those dreams real. You're going to be making those dreams and putting them into reality. Another thing here that I'm seeing with Ten of Swords and Ace of Pentacles, there's going to be an element in your married life with this person where you guys might not exactly know where your money's coming from. There might be an element of not exactly with this Ten of Swords. I particularly see a big empty land, vast landscape behind this woman. And she's kind of just looking off into the distance, but there's nothing there. It's just emptiness, right? And it kind of represents with the original Ten of Swords, the guy being stabbed and he's dead. This kind of represents the spirit moving on to the afterlife, or just having that nothingness after the nothingness that kind of death creates. But what I'm seeing here is it's just this kind of invisibility of not knowing, or looking into the future and not knowing, but then also knowing that you're going to have money come in because it's happened in the past. It's you're not quite sure where the money's coming from, but you're always going to get the money. You always have this person handing you this coin, basically being here, take this. But it's going to be a little, I don't know if I wouldn't say your finances are necessarily unstable. I just see you guys as both very much dreamers and doers. You really want to dream what you want to do, and then you do it right afterwards. And the money just kind of seems to follow. It's kind of one of those things that they talk about in manifesting. When you get away from the logistics of it, having to work a 9 to 5 and pay for save up money and then pay for this crazy vacation or something. This is more along the lines of just whatever you guys dream up, you will be able to do, and the money just comes to you. The money kind of just falls into place and comes through, There might be some times where you're a little scared, you're a little terrified because you're where is the next paycheck coming from? But for the most part, it always lands there. You get the Ace of Pentacles and it just always comes. There's always a new opportunity to make money, or there's always a new way to get money. And I definitely see this person, this eagle, as a go-getter. So I definitely see them as being able to get and kind of collect money, and imagine them with their talons, grabbing the fish and taking it to the nest, grabbing some nice tasty salmon, AKA $1,000, and bringing it back home. Anyway, so there's this element of not knowing exactly where your next paycheck's coming from. But time for a nap in this Four of Swords, the fact that you got both of these cards, it's really iterating this, in this reading, is that your dream time is going to be so, it's also going to be amplified. So if you have, I don't know if you've probably had one of those really cool dreams where you're in a new world or in a new place, and you're just walking around and everything's surreal or different, and you're just really enjoying yourself, and you wake up and you're whoa, that was a trip. That was a crazy adventure. You're going to be having dreams like that. So not only will you be bringing those dreams into your waking life, into your active life, into the action of your daily life, you're also going to be experiencing action in your dreams, I'm definitely seeing a very releasing, a tension release that comes from being with this person, almost you're flying this eagle, you guys are kind of soaring above things, especially in your dreams. It's you're flying, you might both be into if you're into psychic phenomena and stuff, and you both are practicing different attributes in that, you both could be into astral projection, or train each other to astrally project, and you might actually go with each other astrally projecting yourselves into the astral world, and kind of going on adventures in the astral world. So that's something that could be something for some of you if you're into this, if you guys both have psychic tendencies. But other than basically what I'm just seeing is that when your dream life kind of creates your reality, it's like whatever you can dream, you can do. And that's really cool here. It's like, you know, whatever you want to do, you can do. And I don't see like really like building wealth as far as like as a priority, like building for security or, you know, like longevity or anything like that. This is very much like fly by the seat of your pants, kind of like we'll get the money and then we'll do it. And it's just kind of like, really, it's kind of like a very fun connection. Like I definitely see there's like kind of like a element of just like little adventures that kind of happen all the time based on like whatever you dreamt about the night before. So really cool connection, very cool, very intuitive connection. Yeah, the eagle once again is kind of like a leader. There might be an element of like leadership vibes with this person. They might lead a group or something like that, or lead a small family or a pack of people, like a friend group, like a close friend group they might lead and stuff. Yeah, wow. Yeah, it's interesting because right here we have, I don't know if this is a moon or a sun, but I'm taking it as a sun right now. This like sunlight is kind of like the same sun is right here, you know, it's like blazing down on this person and, you know, they're like, you're like taking your dreams into the daylight. It's like taking what you learned in the nighttime into the daylight. There's a very like yin yang focus where it's like, I have to pull this piece of like, you know, dark energy into the light energy and like make it real. And then like that experiences in the light energy fuel the dark energy of, you know, the nighttime where you're dreaming and stuff. It's a very cool connection. Very happy to read for you guys. That was a cool one. If you like the reading, you can like or comment below. If you really like the reading, you subscribe to my channel. I post pick-a-cards like this once every 1 to 2 weeks. Trying to do a little bit more, but I do what I can. And with that said, we're going to move on to the last group, Group 5 with the blue lace agate. Hey, Group 5, this is if you picked the blue lace agate. So let's get into your reading about your future partner and your married life with them. So a little bit about your future partner and the way you guys kind of love each other. So first of all, we have the wolf card. And the first thing that's striking out to me is this earth element sign on the top. I'm definitely seeing this person as like a very grounded person, very stable person, but also a very fierce person. Someone you don't want to cross because they will bite your head off. No, someone you don't want to cross because they're definitely very protective of their pack and their family. And they kind of like one of those types where, you know, they have a bark and they have a bite. But for the most part, they're very like majestic. They hold themselves very well. They're not like belligerent or anything like that. They just kind of like will tell you what's up if you like cross the line. You know, they're like they're very straightforward like that. They let you know, they have solid boundaries, basically. This person's also going to be a little bit independent when you meet them. Like I mentioned, they're going to be very protective of close ones, but the fact is they might not have that many close ones in their life. They might be a very much more of a loner or someone who is very just independent from other people. They don't really need a lot of people to kind of, they don't have a lot of like social needs, I guess is the best way to put it. They don't like seek out attention. They don't need attention. They're kind of very independent. They can fend for themselves. They're pretty good at like wandering like the woods alone, I guess is basically what you could call it. This person also, interestingly enough, with back to what you love, reevaluate your desires, is focused on people's inner truths and specifically what truths are like unalterable from past events. So let me explain this. When we're growing up and when we live our lives, we have specific moments that really kind of like make imprints on us, right? Like, and we get these imprints that kind of like set the tone for the rest of our life. So we might have a specific moment when we like are growing up where we really focus on one specific thing. Like, I know for me, like I really like Miyazaki films. I don't know if anyone else is into anime, but I like Miyazaki films and I really like the movie Spirited Away. That was a big pivotal moment for my life. And I've always watched that movie ever since it first came out. Well, I own the DVD, blah, 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 blah. A little bit about me, guys. Anyway, this person is really going to get you to go back to those things that you found when you were a kid. So back to what you love, reevaluate your desires. You're literally going to be going back to things that you love from your past, and you're going to reevaluate who you've become or if you're straying off the path. If you look at this person right here, she's following these butterflies out on this path over, like, out of the woods and into this valley where there's like sun and clouds shining and stuff over there. Definitely this person is going to help lead you back to like who you truly are. They definitely know who people like truly are on the inside and help guide them towards that. So if you feel lost or you feel disconnected from your identity and you're not really quite sure who you are as a person, this person's going to really help you reevaluate those stepping stones that led up to the fact that make you who you are today, you know? Because like who we are can also be based on just like who our nature is, but also based on our experiences and what we've discovered along the way and through our lives and what kind of like created us that way. So this person's really going to help you evaluate those things and kind of like return and reevaluate your desires and what you're kind of focusing on that might not be who you truly are. So this person can really help you reevaluate kind of like the different aspects of your personality that are at war with each other. Like maybe you have like a few things. This can also help. This person can also help disambiguate situations where other people's desires are like other people put their desires onto you, and you're like kind of acting to please other people. This person really gets you to go within and kind of like look at what makes you who you are and gets you really centered in that identity. This person's really going to help you with that. And that's one thing that I see that this person in your relationship, how they express love to you is they get you to refocus yourself on your purest self. And I can see here that it's going to be something that makes you feel very alive and good about your life and where you are going and coming from in that life. Okay, so let's get into your oracle cards and tarot cards. We have Message in a Bottle, Seven of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles, Five of Cups, and the Tower. Interesting. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing the Tower relating to what we just kind of talked about. Basically, these perspective shifts that they're going to be giving you where they kind of draw your attention back to pivotal moments that make you who you are might be initially painful. I definitely see that you could be the type of person who maybe is a little disconnected from the specific moments that have happened in their life that created their identity. In a way, this person's going to represent kind of like more of a psychotherapist for you. It's like interesting, you guys are going to be like together, but they're really going to dig into kind of like figuring out your identity and who you are as a person and kind of exploring that territory together. And that's just what the Tower kind of represents, is those breaking of structures or things that are not fully stable or not built on solid ground. And they're really going to help you build yourself off of solid ground so you feel less chaotic, you feel more sure of yourself, you have a true path in life, and you feel happy and fulfilled. They're going to push those things around and into you and bring those things out of you, basically. Interestingly enough, I don't flip the cards over before I do the reading. I just like to read them as they come out. But the Wolf with the independent thing, with this Nine of Pentacles, you guys are going to be living a very independent lifestyle. It's going to feel like you're both single. Even though you're in a relationship, you're going to live life like you're both single. Not like to say you're going to flirt with other people or anything like that, but you both might have like your own finances. You might be like self-supportive. Each of you might work your own individual jobs. There might be an element when you first get married or before you decide to get married, that you live in separate locations for a long period of time as you're dating because you both just really love your independence like that much. Yeah, it's interesting. But I also see there's also a reluctance to get closer right away. There is an element that With the Knight of Pentacles and the Seven of Pentacles, it's a very slow-moving energy, especially with a lot of the Earth element. It's a very slow-moving energy. Stable, very stable, but slow-moving. So it's almost like you guys are taking your sweet time to get closer. And part of that is you have a good solid chunk of your time when you're together after you've met, before you even get married, where you're just taking your time, taking it easy, and you're both like perfectly content to let that happen. You know, like there's not going to be a situation where one person's going to be rushing another person to kind of get married really quickly, or like, let's settle in together, or let's tie the knot. You know, it's like everyone's very like, all right, we're our own individual people, and we can like have that, but we can also like enjoy each other's company, but we can still retain our independence. There's a lot of that going on, which is pretty cool. It's like you guys get to each have your freedom and also be committed at the same time. It's really, you're kind of get your cake, and you get to have your cake and eat it too, you know? Message in a bottle is interesting. I'm definitely seeing there is kind of like an element of faith that's very like sure in this connection. Like there is an element that like once you guys meet, like as you kind of progress and get to know each other, there is already an element that you both kind of already know the other person is like your person. With message in a bottle, there is an element of like sending something out with message in a bottle, and then that person kind of like you have to wait to see if they receive it. So there might be a situation where you guys are also independent from each other because of a long distance connection, or the fact that like in your relationship there might be a long distance component to it where you have to send letters and messages through the mail or through text message to contact or get to know each other. But for the most part, I'm definitely seeing that this is like not a big deal in your connection, because I definitely see that both of you really enjoy your independence. I'm getting a lot of cards about independence. Interestingly enough, this Five of Cups represents like pouring out all the unnecessary into this kind of like black hole, right? With this white light kind of coming out of it. Like all these cups are in the dirt, and it's just like, I think where's that cup that she's tipping over? Yeah, there's a cup she's tipping over with her foot, and she's just like, I'm just going to dump this into this black hole, you know? And that's kind of really representative of the fact that this unnecessary elements to like your personality that this wolf person sees, they're going to work through you with these things and kind of get you to like shed the parts of yourself that are not truly you. You know, what parts of you were kind of like put on by society, you know? They're really going to help you center and come back to your true being, you know, basically by working with you and working with past events and finding out what really is that like made you who you are. Let's see, what am I seeing with else? This was kind of short for, let me see, I think there's got to be something else here. Let's see. I'm definitely seeing something with the Seven of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles. There is an element with financial matters that you guys are going to be very, very wealthy. With also not just these two representing like slow moving energy as far as you guys getting to know each other, but it also represents you both building up your separate like wealth accounts pretty solidly. So when maybe you do tie the knot and you guys finally do commit to each other, you're going to have like so much resources to like work with. It's going to be a very plentiful financial aspect with the Nine of Pentacles. This is also one of those things where I'm just pointing out what's in the cards as far as like things that could be happening. You both could end up on a farm or be farmers or work with plants of some kind, or like watch things grow, or like work in fields or farm things. There's just like 3 cards that kind of focus on that. So I just wanted to point that out just in case that is relevant to any of you. If you like work with agriculture or horticulture or anything like that. Yeah, this is a very interesting connection. It's cool. It's very psychological. I wouldn't be surprised if this wolf person was very like into psychology or like psychotherapy. There is an element of that with this person. And I feel like they're very, very good at what they do. Like they're so good at like, this is the type of person you want guiding you through shadow work. This is the type of person you want guiding you through kind of like the dark terrain of like the psyche to like come out the other end and like be a stronger sense of yourself and who you are as a person. So that's really like lovely what we're seeing here. And I'm definitely saying that it's not going to be something that's just going to happen overnight. Like they're not just going to like shatter your world and like make you change all at once. I'm definitely seeing that there's like an element of slow development, like slow connection, slow development. Really, there's an element of taking your time in this connection. It really, all this earth energy really slows down the suddenness of this tower energy. This tower energy is going to feel a little bit lighter, a little more grounded, a little more like a crumbling away rather than a lightning striking. So just be ready for that. This message in a bottle interests me. It just represents that you might have some long distance connection in the beginning of your relationship, and there might be a little need to be a little faith when you guys first meet each other, as far as like the other one reciprocating feelings and stuff. There might be a little tough time in the beginning knowing like if the other person's like comfortable with what you're throwing down. There might be a little dance of like, okay, where are you coming from? Where am I coming from? But overall, I definitely see you guys settling into a really comfortable groove of like togetherness with independence. Like that's really coming through very strongly. So anyway, I really enjoyed reading for you guys. That was a fun pile to read for. If you like the video, you can like or comment below. If you really like the video, you can subscribe to my channel. I post pick a cards like this once every 1 to 2 weeks. I'm trying to post more regularly than that, but sometimes it's difficult. Anyway, I really enjoyed reading for you guys. That was the last pile, so I will see you all later. Have a good one, wherever you are. Bye. See ya.